Hello Seekers, welcome to Punneit Astrology, your one-stop astro channel. Something unique is happening right now, and most probably we are unaware about this, or we know but we are not looking on a macro level, on a holistic level. And the thing is that if you observe, Jupiter, Saturn are retrograde. Now, what is so unique about this? Every year, Jupiter and Saturn goes retrograde, and there is a common duration. Well, if you observe, out of 9 planets currently, 5 are retrograde. Rahu Ketu is always retrograde. Sun and Moon can never be retrograde. Jupiter, Saturn are retrograde, but also Buddha, Mercury is retro. So now you have 5 planets in Vakri state. Then on 2nd of October, Mercury will become direct. So again, you will have 4 retrograde planets. Then on 23rd of October, Saturn will become direct. So now it falls back to 3 retrograde. But on 30th of October, Mars goes retro. So again, there is a 4 retrograde planets. So you are observing that for this entire duration until 24th of November, there are at least 4 retrograde planets, and most of them are quite important. And if you observe that up to 2nd of October, 5 planets are retrograde, 1 inner and 4 outer planets. What is a retrograde planet? I've explained many times in my video. But to just add, retrograde planet is an excessive energy that is more than usual or less than usual. It is basically a deviated energy performing unusual tasks. So this is the time when in your life things will be slightly unplanned, slightly deviated. If your horoscope has more than 3 retrograde planets, Rahu Ketu is always, and if there is a couple of more retrograde planets like 3 or 4, then you will see that no matter how much you plan during this time, your plans might not work the way you want. Out of 10 times, 3 or 4 times it will work. 5 or 6 times it will give you surprises. So how do you plan your year ahead and at least till February 2023? You will always have to have a backup plan. Always have a margin of error. And the margin of error should be like you're considerate about that margin. You're not too tight. People who are working under strict deadlines will see that they are falling sick the most. So if you have to work under very stringent hours, very stringent deadlines, that means you're not flexible. There is no room for flexibility, and that is when the retrograde planets can hurt you. You might be feeling frustrated to change your job. You might lose your focus. For students who are pushing their studies till the day of examination, you are pushing it forward, they will feel frustration and preparation will take a hit, ranking will take a hit, the entire future will take a hit. Because see, Guru is Jnana, Shani is Karma, Budh is Buddhi, Chitta, and Rahu Ketu are the direction of Karma. If these planets are retrograde, something is happening throughout the world, globally. It will happen with everyone. Doesn't matter which horoscope you have, where the planets are in your birth chart. This is a very generic guidance which I am giving you. You can just apply this for any horoscope, any dasha, mahadasha, doesn't matter. Because the retrograde is for everybody, and this is hitting your consciousness. You might choose to act at times when you should not act. You might choose to refrain from action and remain silent when you should have actually acted. The biggest enemy at this time will be procrastination, pushing things to the boundary. If you plan, if you take risk without your backup plan, that is also something negative that you can do. The markets, the finances will always be volatile because of these energies, and this can also trigger wars in certain cases. You will see surprising outputs throughout the world. The geopolitics will be highly surprising. The results will be highly unpredictable. More because of Martian retrogression in the future. Because Mars and Jupiter will be retrograde, and the moment Mars becomes retrograde, imagine what will happen. Pisces is experiencing retrograde Jupiter, Aries is experiencing retrograde Rahu, Taurus will experience retrograde Mars. Now observe the energy from Capricorn to Taurus. From now, Capricorn and then the next zodiac sign Aquarius, both are ruled by Shani, Saturn. And Capricorn is experiencing a retrograde Saturn, falling behind, and then on 23rd it will become direct. Fine. Go to the next zodiac sign, Pisces, Jupiter is retrograde. Then the next zodiac sign, Aries, Rahu is permanently retrograding there. So currently, you are experiencing a reverse shift from Aries to Capricorn. So there is so much of action, volatility of action, uncertainty of the mind. And if you are falling in this sector, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn and Sagittarius as moon sign or ascendant, you will see that you are experiencing a very high level of volatility in your mind. Obviously, it will be like a 19-20 difference for other horoscopes, but this is over the top of everything that you know about your horoscope. This is like a generalized trend that you are seeing. Capricorn is career, Capricorn is karma, Aquarius is gain, finances, Pisces is asylum, isolation, breaking relationships, foreign connections, and Aries is your ambition, your expansion, your desire. Everything is taking a retrograde hit. That means everything is becoming unusual. A person who is supposed to behave like a saint is behaving like a sinner, and a sinner is behaving like a saint, and you don't know what to do with it. Recently, I have found out that James Webb Telescope has clicked some pictures that supposedly confirms that the Big Bang Theory is not entirely true. Many of the assumptions made by the scientists is incorrect. Who knows what will happen in the future? Why is it happening now? Some connection with planets? Probably yes. These are new discoveries, breakthrough discoveries. This is Rahu in Aries, technological advancement that breaks your laws of physics and that breaks your assumptions. On a minor scale, on a day-to-day scale, you get to know more about yourself. You get to know more about your relatives. You get to know about your strength, your weakness. Some people adjust, some people don't. For some, it is a very good time, and for some, it's the worst time of their life. If you're running a Shani Mahadasha, Rahu Mahadasha, or Jupiter Mahadasha, or their Antardashas, you will experience the drag, the friction of life. Even in the bestest of your time, you will see that you have managed it somehow and you are proud about that, but you have faced that friction. Yes, for some it will be completely smooth. Lot depends on your own horoscope's total strength. Some may overcome. But it's not that you are not experiencing it. If it rains outside, it rains for everybody. But some are on the street, some in the home, some are in the hospital. So this rain is common to all, but the experience depends on which state you are in. Now, when Saturn to Rahu is one set of retrogression, 23rd October is the time when Saturn stops the retrogression. It becomes direct. Now what? Now you have only Jupiter to Aries. Do you know this relay shifts? It's like there is a phase shift, because from 30th of October, Mars, 30th and 31st around that, Mars becomes retrograde. Now the phase shift happens and the Saturn zodiac is free from this. Now it starts from Pisces. Pisces, Jupiter, Aries, Rahu, Taurus, Mars. So now it's Pisces, Aries and Taurus. Taurus joins the club. This calls for financial insecurity. So if you are making an investment at a time when Mars is retrograde, be very, very careful, especially if the matters are of real estate, technology, agriculture. There can be a sudden growth, but there can be a sudden downfall. There can be a global real estate crisis. Then from 24th of November, Mars will continue its retrogression. And now Jupiter ends the retrogression. There are only 3 retrogrades, so it seems a very normal time. But now Aries and Taurus are involved. And the 2 planets that are involved is Rahu and Mars, totally aggressive planets. And remember, when Mars is in Taurus, Mars is a very relaxed and laid-back planet. But when Mars becomes retrograde, I will upload a video for Mars retrogression. But when Mars becomes retrograde, it is like a soldier has gone crazy. You're working too hard for financial security. You're working too hard for food security. Something is wrong. There will be a power imbalance in the society, power imbalance in the countries. Obviously, not to a grand scale, but you will see that the minor subdued effect. You have to read between the lines and you have to see the decisions made at that time and the effect and the results of those decisions in the future. So you might have to sit with a pen and paper and write down all the events and what can you make out of that. It will be a learning through experience, and this is how retrograde works. Repeatedly looking into the matter again and again, and each time you look, you see a different perspective. In Shastra, it is written that retrograde planet will behave as a very strong planet. It just increases the potency. A benefic planet will become more benefic. A malefic planet will become more malefic. But that is a theoretical statement. How does it apply? Sugar is sweet. Put a lot of sugar, you can't drink that tea. More benefic, not necessarily good. A teacher is not strict. Student is not listening to the teacher. Teacher becomes strict. It is good for the student. Bad planet becoming more malefic may be good for you. So don't think that a planet is bad and Jupiter is good or Saturn is bad. No planet is good or bad. It all depends on relative communication of energy. It's a web of frequency. Horoscope is nothing but a group of frequencies tuned at a certain angle to each other, and what resultant frequency comes out of all the 9 frequencies and the 27 nakshatra, 12 zodiacs is your horoscope, is what your life is. And in which, if you feel retrogression, it means something is wrong. You may have to rework, you may have to revisit, you may have to go back. Which means that right now, don't leave any work unfinished. Patience is the biggest factor here. If you become impatient, you will only lose things more than you can gain. Motivation is good, but you can't punch a wall thinking that will break the wall. The wall will break your hand. You must know your limits also. So the best way is to go in, understand your limit, and then slowly expand. Like an arrow, it is drawn backward, and the more tensile strength you give to the arrow, the more you pull the arrow backward and then you leave, further the arrow goes. So in order to move forward, you need to take a step backward, and that is what the message the retrograde planets are giving us. And see the planets that are retrograde: Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Saturn, Jupiter usually becomes retrograde for a certain duration of time. But when other planets accompany this, it starts affecting at a very smaller level. Mars is the energy, Buddha is right now the consciousness. People who are having some sleep-related issue should take care of their health. Take care of your blood pressure. Stress will be a very common factor in this time, so avoid stress at all cost. Meditation. You can do Pankaj Mudra. And if you don't know what to do, simply chant Om. And even if that is difficult for you, go to a garden, watch a sunrise. Just be close to nature. Stay in isolation for some time, because retrograde planet will work best when you are alone. Because you have to go within. If you are in the crowd, lot of suggestions will come, lot of information will come, and the planets will be confused. You won't understand what to do with the data. You may take a wrong call. And this is something unique that I am seeing. Mars usually don't get retrograde every year. Mercury gets retrograde 4 times a year. So what? No, a retrograde Mercury is something that creates intellectual variation in the society. It is far more important than Saturn's retrogression, which is more like building a generation. And if you observe, Mercury, Mars, Saturn and Jupiter all own 2 zodiac sign. Mercury rules Gemini, Virgo, Saturn rules Capricorn, Aquarius, Jupiter, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Mars, Aries and Scorpio. So it's like 8 zodiac signs out of 12. 2 are ruled by Venus, 2 by Sun and Moon. So almost everything is affected, right? So in this case, you must focus more on day-to-day activity and long-term future. Be in present and try to build a future. And if you have to rework, if you have to take back your words, surrender. Don't create an enmity out of that. Don't create a grudge out of that you have to take back your words. You have to fall back. There was a failure. These failures, these setbacks will put you into the path of success. Because how will you become successful if you don't know what are the loopholes? And these retrograde planets will make you rework again and again and again on your dreams and passion. And obviously in this process is grinding, this process is grilling, this process takes a lot of energy and effort out of you. And so you may claim that your time is not right. Nothing comes served on the platter for all of us. Life is not so simple. And especially if you are young, if you are within your 20s, if you are 18, 23, 22, you may feel frustrated. You think world will work like this. You know better. Or maybe you know better. But you need to gather more experience. And this retrogression will give you a lot of experience. And this is like a valuable time in our life when we can correct our energies, we can recalibrate our life and become far more spiritual. And you will see that by the end of 2022 and early 2023, the spiritual angle of society will boost much more, because whenever we feel problems, where do we go? We go to the door of God. We bow down. Ultimately, we have to surrender, because only through patience, gratitude, and surrender is what one can become more humble and more successful and become more and more happy. Will this hurt your materialistic growth? Not really. But somebody who is over passionate, somebody who is just running after money, those kind of energies may feel restrictions, resistance. If you are too eager to act, then also you will see that you might commit mistakes. It's like you are trying to run when the shoelaces are tied together. So this is the time when you have to focus more on these energies holistically. Maybe you can talk to a friend whenever you have something to vent out. Don't just vent out. Go in a very rhythmic process. First, take a deep breath, focus what you have to speak, and then take a call. As slow as you can go. Maybe difficult, but certainly not impossible. So that was my message for all the retrogression. So I hope this message was helpful. This was more like a guiding message to you, all of you. This is what I feel about the retrograde planets. I hope you like this. Please put your comments in the comment section about your experience and what you have to say. Also follow me on Instagram, Telegram and Twitter for more updates. Do subscribe the channel, hit the bell icon. Follow me on other social media platforms. And for consultations, if you want to take my consultation, you can drop me an email. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, this is your host Puneet. Namaste.